Have you ever had to run out mesh and found yourself kicking the roll up and down hill, having it run away from you, getting caught on sticks, and just generally being a complete pain in the neck? Well, there's got to be an easier way. Today, I'm going to hop into the shed and see if we can make up something nice and easily that'll get us out of trouble with mesh and make running it out a breeze. G'day, I'm Tim Thompson. If you like this kind of content, hit the little subscribe button down there, give it a thumbs up, and there's plenty more tips and tricks like this on timthompson.ag. Now let's get into it. Now hopefully you too have the healthy habit of collecting bits of scrap metal, because it lets you do projects like this really easily. So I'm going to be making up a carrier that fits in the tow hitch of the ute. And that's about a 50mm by 50mm piece of square tube. So let's go and see if we can find some of that in the scrapyard. And I'm going to cut about 1 metre length off it, because I'm going to give myself plenty of room to come past the end of the tailgate for overhang for large rolls. So now we've got our tow hitch mount. What I need to do now is set up a frame to hold the roll side to side along the back of the ute. So I'm going to cut this to about 1400mm, which gives me a bit of room to play with and means I can run a 1200mm high or 4-foot high roll without any dramas. Well, that seems nice and strong. It's amazing what you can do with a good welder. You can even make your own implements on a weekend. So now I've got to put the thinking cap on. We need 2 forks, one at either end, to sit the roll in and run out the roll, no longer kicking it along the ground. Let's see what other scrap we got lying around that we can put to use. Now I'm going to use a fencing bar as the axle, and I'm getting all fancy for the mounts. Okay, we've mounted it into the tow hitch on the back of the ute. Here's our custom sheet mesh roller. Let's see how it works. Now I've deliberately made this about 1/2 metre high and a good 200 or 300mm away from the back tailgate, so that I can still drop the tailgate down. I can put my fencing bar through the wire to act as an axle, and as I usually do this sort of stuff on my own, I can sort of just manoeuvre it off the back of the ute single-handedly. That's the theory. And there we go. It's on and mounted, and I'm using stiff stay because it's got a single picket wire. It's not jointed like hinge joint is, so it's a much stronger fence, particularly with animals like goats that are going to test it. All right, let's cut off the free end, attach it to the post and start driving. Well, what do you know? Dodgiest design known to mankind, all scrap metal, and it worked. Moving forward, I think what I'd like to do is put a plate at either end just to stop any snagging. I noticed when I took off, the wire was right up against these bolts and it concerned me a little bit that it might snag on them. So I think a steel plate would be a good addition, but otherwise It works a treat, and it's a whole heap easier than running it out by hand over rough terrain, particularly if you're working on slopes. So get yourself a good welder like a Weldclass and start welding up some little gadgets like this to make your farm life easier. So I'd be really keen to know what you've made around the home farm and what you've done to make your jobs just that bit easier. Guys, if you like this kind of video, don't forget, hit the little subscribe button down there, give it a thumbs up. There's plenty more content on timthompson.ag, and we'll get into some more stuff next week.